Morning. Thank you all for joining us. I'm Amy Densmore, Director of Apprenticeships at Parkland. This is our October Parkland Workforce Collaborative session. We're going to try something a little bit new and try to hear from more of you and get some more ideas and sharing. I know there's some really great things happening out there, and so excited to share those with each other and hopefully inspire some great ideas and maybe give you some more energy. We were just talking about that a minute ago. So first up, recording has started. If you're comfortable having your camera on, that'd be great. No problem. I understand if you're driving or not in a place you can share, but we have some questions and I really want to hear from all of you. Your thoughts, your experiences, things you've seen other companies do. Maybe it's not your current employer, but past employer, best practices. So anything goes. And my first question to you is to share a piece of career or workplace advice that you've received and that you continue to pass along to other people as you go throughout your career. I attended a session at Parkland put on by our communications faculty on public speaking, and this was probably 20 years ago. But something that really stuck with me is that the presenter said that your audience wants you to be successful, that they're supportive of you. And so if you mess up or you drop your note cards or whatever, just pick them up and keep going. They're not cheering for you to fail. They're supportive and want you to entertain them, to inform them. And so I don't know, that really helped me with public speaking and to be more natural and not feel so intimidated by the audience, but to feel like we were all in it together. So that's something that I tend to pass along to people who are new to public speaking or have a lot of anxiety around it.
Amy, there's a comment from Katie Heap in the comments, and she says that she gives the advice to participate in the social aspects, lunch, after hours, and community involvement. I think that's a really important point. You know, I know that that's something that I have found to be really valuable when you need to have those relationships with people that are necessary in order to make things happen in the workplace. Certainly is a real asset to have already built rapport with folks and to have that sort of common bond with them. Katie, what have you found to be beneficial about that in your own practice?
I agree. Just having the relationships and understanding people's personalities a little bit better, maybe some of those social occurrences kind of lower the expectation bar a little bit. Everybody's human, and it's nice to have something to think about other than how you just work with them.
I always say it's hard to be mad at somebody or upset with somebody or to send a nasty gram to them when you've talked about their kid's baseball game and their dog, right?
I think if you have a workplace too that has community involvement opportunities, like I've been an EEO rep at Parkland forever, but that's been such an interesting way to get to know people I would have probably never talked to otherwise, and to find out the different culture in departments across campus and just really be involved.
I have a few that I've shared. I've got one. Well, for me, I'm in HR. It's to be effective in human resources. You have to be human first and resources later.
I like that.
And you're never too important to be nice to people.
Those are good.
I think a big thing is kind of meeting people where they're at, understanding the person you're dealing with and understanding different personalities. At the end of the day, we all put our pants on the same way. Nobody's too important. Nobody's, I think, kind of going off of what you just said, Jennifer, is nobody's too important and nobody's not important enough, and treating everybody the same with respect and kind of valuing their time and their opinions and making sure you kind of make that action with them rather than just making it business. Sometimes you do need to understand that they are people. They have things going on outside of work. Kind of just connect with them and be human. Don't be a robot necessarily. Just kind of find their soft spot and make sure that you know that they're not all there for business, that you're not there for business, that you are a person as well. So I think that that helps.
That makes some of those hard conversations a little easier too. If you've had a positive rapport with them, they're not thinking that you're after them. It's just, it is the business side of it. And sometimes those things are more difficult, but hopefully it makes it a little bit easier.
These are great. We'll put together a list afterwards and put that on the resources page. Other thoughts? Right. What recognition ideas work best for your team when morale is low or workloads are high? Or just what recognition ideas work best for your team?
I think one thing we do at MTD is, we try to just say thank you, like just simple recognition like that. Just, noticing things, not just walking in with your blinders on and, catching the little things people do. I think that means a lot to people, even if you send them. We have an internal messaging system too. We send thank yous out. We shout out. We have shop meetings monthly, and we'll shout out to employees, something great they did that was above and beyond. But food works too. We give food out at shop meetings. That gets good attendance. But I think the thank yous and like actually recognizing people, I think a lot of that goes a long way with most people, not everyone.
Could you talk a little bit more about the shout meeting, Josh? I'm curious. Is that like a 10-minute meeting or an hour, or what's the structure?
Shop meetings we do them monthly. I mean, they can go an hour. I feel like they're normally about 20, 25, 30 minutes, something like that. And it's pretty much just like all employees gather together and we just give them kind of a rundown of what's going on high level. And then we get into some of the day-to-day stuff. And then occasionally we'll do like, like SOP. If we have a new SOP or a new process, we'll do like training on that to, just try to keep people up to speed on changes. But our team, what we found is that our team like really likes to know what's going on with stuff. So if we're thinking about buying a new this or a new that, or there's this big thing coming, whatever, they like to be really well informed. And so we just try to give them all the information we have so that everyone's kind of feels like they're a part of what is going on. So it's, but yeah, we do them monthly with everyone.
Awesome. Thank you.
We do something similar on set when we're producing a movie, is we have a jar that sits out on Crafty, so on the food services part where people visit that multiple times a day, but every crew member has a chance to write something nice about somebody else that went above and beyond or did a great job. Or one guy got one day just for having a fantastic mustache. The next morning during a safety meeting, one of them gets pulled out of the jar and read, and that person just gets some extra special recognition that day.
Our employees, they really like food. So anything with food, they are always happy about. And we do something similar. We do like a thumbs up. So every day during their huddles, the section managers review all the thumbs up. And then those people are entered to win a day off for the next month. And that can be peer to peer, and it can also be supervisor to associate. So it's nice that we're able to do both.
Give away PTO. It's fantastic.
Well, and we do a lot of cat swag too. We give that away. They get money for like swag and stuff. Can never
cool.
have too many hats, I guess.
And I'm sorry, we did not do introductions, and I'm realizing that I know everyone, but some of you may not know each other. So we've heard from Josh Beerbaum, MTD, Tammy Nettles, Caterpillar Logistics, Katie Heap, Heritage FS, and Jen Shelby, Flyover Studios. And Meredith Herbert, Parkland, and Alicia Beck, also Parkland. So, thank you. May just, if you haven't chatted yet, introduce yourself real quick.
Sorry, I haven't said anything yet, but my name is Josh Rund, and I'm with United Prairie and Premier Cooperative, and yeah, just happy to be here. And yeah, I would definitely echo what everybody else is saying. Food's always good. Food always works. We also have our company at United Prairie have an employees only Facebook page where we highlight what our people are doing in the field, what they're doing out at work. If they send me photos, I tag them and put them on our employee only Facebook page and kind of highlight what they do. Our people take a lot of pride in that and really enjoy that, I feel like. But United Praise and Ag Retail Company, we do the crop protection, fertilizer, spreading, stuff like that in the fields here. And then Premier Cooperative is an elevator and energy company. So, yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Josh. I'm curious on that Facebook page. Can anyone post to that, or do you have designated moderators?
Anyone who's in the group can post on there if they want to, and then I moderate the page as well. And so I have to, if they post, I have to approve what they post.
I can go next. I'm Rebecca Bolt. I work at MTD. I'm the assistant maintenance director. One thing to add that we kind of do company-wide, not just so much in the maintenance department, is we do have a newsletter that goes out to all employees. And so sometimes employees can submit themselves if there's something exciting going on in their lives, like they just had a child, got married, maybe graduated, or if they have kids who just graduated. And so that's kind of a unique thing where you can kind of shout out yourselves, but also as supervisors, if anybody has like a promotion or other exciting things, we can also submit for them to be kind of highlighted there as well.
Very cool. I appreciate the combination of personal and professional to help with that connection and relationship building that we've talked about.
Yeah, I can go next. My name is Mark Andre. I'm with Kraft Heinz here in Champaign. New role for me. This is my first involvement with Parkland College on this level. One thing we do at Kraft Heinz is we have a daily recognition for people that went above and beyond. And then there's also a weekly recognition for Employee of the Week. Of course, that comes with some cafeteria bucks or $20 at the company store. And one thing I like to tell people every time I interview folks at this facility is that you're interviewing for your next job every day that you're here, so behave accordingly. That sums up one of my best go-tos.
That's a really great piece of career advice, Mark. Every day you're interviewing for your next job. I like that. Yeah. And I've heard all about the company store from my apprentices they should film a commercial for it about getting cases of mac and cheese and whatnot. They really like that benefit.
On a total side note, my husband used to work for a J&J subsidiary called Ethicon Endosurgery, and we used to get all the J&J products at the company store, like Band-Aids, shampoo, soap, all the stuff, and we had a baby, so it was amazing. But I totally hear what you're saying about the company store. It's a great benefit.
I hadn't really heard of that before the Kraft Heinz apprentices were telling me about it, so I thought that's really cool. Interesting to hear that's more common than I was aware of.
One of the things that we do, it's not maybe recognition, but it's recognition on individual jobs. Our operations teams get an additional $300 a year for clothing since they are outdoors. And that goes a long ways for coveralls, or I'm in an ag retail company as well. Coveralls, Carhartt coats, things like that. And then they also get a $200 Red Wing gift card. For boots. It doesn't always cover the whole boot cost, but we work with a chemical company to kind of help offset that cost. But that is a recognition of that job is different than some of the other positions in our company, and that is very well received.
That's awesome. Parkland's had a couple of things that we've called kudos, and they just relaunched it recently. We had, some changes in HR that had it go dormant for just a bit, but now we have it's a kudos board, and you can get those. There's a website, I think it's just kudosboard.com. And then you can post, anyone in the company can post recognition to anyone else. So you can be anonymous or include your name, and you can give someone a shout out for making campus look really spiffy for new students when we're welcoming them back in the new semester, or someone who hosted a great event, or whatever the case may be. And then they draw one person quarterly, and that team gets a little donut party. It's a surprise donut party. So. All right. Do you have any small actions or habits that have made a big difference in your team culture?
I think for us, just sometimes we don't highlight all the work that we do. So we've made it a practice to summarize, right? If we do an all employee meeting, yes, all employees come, but we follow that up, with a summarization of everything that was discussed. We're going through a huge transformation here in Champaign. So a lot of our team members are change champions, and those meetings are held weekly. Just doing a follow up of those meetings. So like, I think somebody said it earlier, everybody wants to know what's going on. Putting that, showing our work, I guess, has definitely helped improve the engagement and transparency for us in Champaign.
People feel more included when they know what's going on. That's cool.
And we also utilize like a continuous improvement. So they have what's called CI cards that they're able to, whatever ideas they have, whether it's, they're a process related, work related, safety related, right? They have the ability to just go to their local kiosk, put in their idea, and then it's seen by all levels of the organization. And somebody has to go back to them personally and meet with them about what their concern was, or what we're doing to resolve it.
It's like a quick turnaround too, isn't it? Like it's within a couple of business days that they get a
Yeah, well,
response.
safety's within 24 hours. Anything outside of safety's, I got like a 48-hour or 3-day window. Yeah.
That's really awesome that they know they're going to get a follow-up, and it doesn't just go into the ether or into a comment box.
We have to sign it with them, which is
That's
always
great.
fun on a Friday night at 2 a.m.
Feel like you're speaking from experience on that one, Tammy.
Yeah. No, it's a good process.
Changed departments, so I guess sort of we have a newer division. It's been just over a year where we've brought 3 departments together, and I joined 2 other departments that were already there. So I can't speak for the culture before it, but I feel like we do, I don't know, maybe quarterly, sometimes monthly social gatherings, whether it's just getting together after work for happy hour, or we brought last month, we had an all staff meeting, and in the hour before it, a couple of us brought in some homemade soups, and people brought in, charcuterie trays and dessert, and everybody who wanted to have lunch came and have lunch. So more of those social aspects, but I think it's help people across departments just be more comfortable with each other and understanding more about what they do and who they are. It's been fun.
A couple of things that we do here, I would say that made a huge difference, but we're kind of just like a small action is obviously when technicians have questions or ideas about things, instead of answering for them, just kind of coming back and asking like what their thoughts are, or what their decision would be. Because 9 times out of 10, they already know what needs to be done. They're just kind of seeking approval. So just kind of asking them their opinion. They come to you with ideas instead of problems now. And so it's been pretty beneficial there. But another thing that we did within the last like 4 or 5 years is shift altering. So I don't know how everybody else's like shifts are set up, but we have 24/7 shifts. So we have 3 shifts. And instead of having somebody take a whole day off for a doctor's appointment or go see their kid's game or something like that, we do allow them to shift their hours around a little bit as long as it's not detriment to service, so that they can still do personal things in their life, but still come and do 8 hours for us. So it's kind of a mutual benefit there. But ever since we started doing that, it seems to be people are taking less time off and they're more willing to still work their 8 hours, but get the benefit of doing what it is they need to do in their personal lives as well.
That is awesome. Is there a rule on like how many hours you can shift it?
Not necessarily. It's very situationally. They'll come to me and say, hey, can I work these hours on this day? I'll look at overall coverage. If there's no issues, I say, yep, that's great. I'll put it on the calendar. If there are some issues, sometimes I allow them to find somebody to cover for them. And so they can still have the day off and not have to take an attendance point. But the way we think is I would rather have you for 8 hours, regardless of what time of day it is, so I can get 8 hours of production versus you being off the whole day.
Yeah, absolutely. And your work allows that flexibility. Great idea. Talked about morale. So what have you seen another employer or partner do that you've borrowed or wanted to try and implement? I've heard like 8 things now. I'm going to be emailing HR after this call.
Well, one thing that I saw at an event that I went to, an HR event with Land O'Lakes, was there was a group doing like employee newsletters, and so we decided to implement that a few years ago. So we do a quarterly employee newsletter, as some of you talked about, staying informed and keeping employees informed. That was part of it. Was we wanted to boost our communication with everyone within our company, and so we did that with a quarterly newsletter that goes out, and so we started out quarterly, and I don't know if it'll progress to being more frequent than that. It definitely will not go less frequent. But yeah, that was something that I saw somewhere that we started implementing and have seen some positive interaction from.
Who puts that together, Josh? Do you have a marketing team or you?
I'm the marketing team. I put it together, and I've got a little template that I use, and I usually have an article in there. I also do safety and compliance for the company, so I have a safety article. Our CEO puts an article together, and then I try and collaborate with at least one other person, whether it's an operational person or a sales person or agronomy, to fill out the newsletter. And we highlight one of our locations and their employees, and then we talk about upcoming events, employee events that they can participate in there as well. But I put all of that together and then send it out once a quarter to everyone.
There are a few jobs I found that you don't do, Josh.
I'm getting there.
I went to a conference a few years ago, and there was a dean from a small system of community colleges in Iowa who talked about changing their performance evaluation process, where it wasn't just one way where the supervisor's reviewing the employee and they have a conversation, but they used the Strengths Finder Q12 questions like, do you have the tools you need to do your job? And when was the last time someone above you in leadership made you feel your work was valuable? So there's a dozen of those questions. And then they had the employees rate them on, a scale of 1 to 5 or whatever. And they had a 5% increase in enrollment. And I thought that was so impactful that those employees are feeling heard. they're taking that feedback and acting on it. So one example they gave was a low score on the tools to do their job. And it turns out that his team in admissions wanted headsets to do all of their calls for, tuition payments and time to register and things like that. So super easy fix for him. But I found that to be intriguing that by engaging the employee, they had such strong results on customer engagement because people were more happy about doing their job and wanted to do more.
I have a quick question, kind of. We have locations and each location kind of operates on their own, but we have a hard time sometimes pulling everybody together. We do have an all employee meeting and a company party once a year, but does anybody else have similar circumstances that we did start our safety culture app, and that's helped because everybody across the company can see anything on there, but we just don't have a lot of opportunities for everybody to kind of work together, and they might not ever meet each other except for maybe that company party. So trying to just pull everybody together.
And we do a few things at Craft similar to that. We have a marquee, we call it the Noodle, and we have several noodles. It's basically a big screen TV set up at various places throughout the facility for communication, daily updates, company updates, and then we have a monthly meeting with leadership and the employees so that we can communicate out to a better level exactly what's going on in the company. And then twice a year we have an offsite for the leadership to it's like a team building, because sometimes we don't get to meet everybody in leadership in this facility. So it's nice to get everybody together and go through certain criteria on how, we practice subservient leading here. And we're encouraged to go out on the floor, talk to people, because they just don't want to see you when things are bad. They want people to go out to the floor and talk to them, get engaged with them, find out, what's going on in their lives. We're also asked to go out once a week, talk to people, ask them some questions about their lives, get to know them a little better, let them know you, and just to build the relationship between the management and the folks on the floor.
Terrific engagement and keep that communication open. All right. How do you engage your employees in problem solving or innovation? And I know our friends at MTD have a really great example on this one that I just heard about last month at a conference.
Yeah, we started some employee-led committees. And so we have 3 of them currently: a safety and cleaning committee, we have a preventative maintenance inspections committee, and then we have a training committee. And so basically it's open to all of our maintenance employees, anyone can sign up. And each committee is actually led not by like a staff member, like a director or assistant director or supervisor, but it's led by like just some of our lead technicians. So they gather everybody together, they go through what's pertinent to that particular committee. Like, for instance, safety and cleaning, they talk about safety initiatives, shop cleanliness, inventory, warehouse support, just things that could make the job easier, safer, identify potential, hazards, trip hazards, things like that. Things that, like Rebecca and I, who are, we're in our offices a lot, we're not out there in the day to day. We don't know all the potential issues or the things that might, make the job easier. We don't know about those things. And sometimes employees come up and tell you about them, but sometimes they don't. And, it can be intimidating coming up to an office. And so these employee-led committees have really gained a lot of traction. I think we've gotten a lot of great feedback and ideas from it, made a lot of great changes from it. Preventative maintenance, they look at our inspections we do on all of our fleet vehicles, and they come up with ideas, ways to, gain efficiencies, things that are being missed on the inspection, maybe reordering the inspection so that it makes more logical sense for flow. If there's a known issue out there on vehicles in our fleet, maybe we need to do like a big campaign initiative to fix, a potential issue. And then training is the last one. Basically, we try to train within, we try to grow and promote from within. And so we've got like a mentorship program where senior techs kind of work with the younger techs. We've got a tech development training program where we kind of train from within on like course curriculum, but also like real world bugged vehicles. We'll bug a vehicle, have the technician go out, try to find his way through, troubleshoot the issues. We do a lot of OEM training where I bring vendors in. And so we ask, that training committee, like, hey, what should we train on? What are people struggling with? What's the most common issues you see? And so then we take, what their recommendations are. I work with those OEM vendors to get that training here in-house. So I think we get a lot of good feedback from this. We have a decent amount of engagement, and then we generally will post the notes from the meetings up on like our bulletin board so that people that aren't a part of the committee can read the notes and kind of see where things are at. And then we'll, a lot of times at our shop meetings, I mentioned earlier, those monthly meetings, a member of each of these committees, like one of the leaders of the committees, will stand up and talk about, hey, here's what we were working on, or here's what we did work on, or here's a change that's coming. And so everybody in the shop kind of sees their fellow employees, changes and what they're doing. And it kind of makes people want to get involved. And it also, the last thing is that when we're doing employee evaluations, so all hourly employees get evaluations at the end of the fiscal year, we will mention in their employee evaluation if they're part of these committees or not, just kind of as like a, thank you for doing it. We appreciate it. We notice it, and we kind of call it out on their employee evaluations. So that's something we've done. We're non-union, so like this sort of thing is okay. I know some of you on the call, maybe this type of thing doesn't work for you, but in the environment we have, it does seem to work really well. And I think there's pretty good level of engagement.
Thanks, Josh. I love the agency that gives the team members to kind of direct their own training and direct their own work and to really take ownership. Alicia, do you want to talk a little bit about the sort of cross-departmental exercise you had workforce engage in that led us to the common problem that we're now working through solutions for? I think that was really cool.
Yeah. So we have taken some time to think through how we might orient ourselves as a new department at Parkland. So we came together 3 different divisions underneath one division, the workforce department, a little over a year ago. And so one of the big projects that I undertook was to find what common issues do we all have when serving students so that we can begin to understand what we can do to be cross-collaborative in our divisions, because clearly there's a lot of overlapping work that we do, and we can increase efficiencies, but also increase and better our services to students. So we've gone through a series of group activities. We do have monthly meetings as an organization, as a division, so that we can both share information, come together to see each other, and then also to work on these cross-collaborative issues that we have. So we began with really taking stock of what are the obstacles that our students have in accessing services and looking at the commonalities there. And then building from there, taking an exact look at manufacturing as a pathway for our students, and how can we together build a manufacturing pipeline that would include each of our divisions. So it's been a helpful exercise to map that out. And then also look at how each one of our divisions does impact this overall goal of increasing the manufacturing pipeline for our students. So, what it's done is help us see that each division actually plays a part. And then we have subsequently found some additional projects that have kind of become as a result of that. One, actually, Amy's spearheading. That's a informational piece that we're putting out about workforce as a whole. So she's working on some pieces that really talk about us and our impact that we can have on businesses locally. And then we have another group that's working on doing the information sharing and how we share information across our divisions and the best way to make that happen about students, and so transferring students from place to place in our pipeline so they don't fall through the cracks. And then finally, there's also the more specific area of looking at manufacturing and the pipeline there that our directors are working on. But much like MTD, these are more employee-driven opportunities that we invite employees into those processes and those committees so that they can be a part of that planning. So there's people from each one of the divisions on those committees for those pieces. And I think that's been really helpful in building the identity of a new division, because we were 3 different divisions, and really within adult education, it was like having 2 divisions. And so we were like 4 divisions coming together underneath a new way to think about things in a more comprehensive fashion. So when we think about this manufacturing pipeline, what that's done for us is we have our English as a second language folks thinking through how can we make an manufacturing class that's contextualized language learning to be able to be a pathway into the pipeline for our community members who are learning English. How can we build a pipeline through what we have, a program called ICAPS, through our adult education programming for people who are currently working on their high school education but need to be able to access more advanced training in an area, so that we have the comprehensive approach from ESL and GED, and then also from our friends in Project Read who teach literacy skills. Our friends in Project Success Support for Workforce Training. Project Success is like a throwback for me. That's like 30 years ago that I worked in Project Success. I don't know how that happened. Swift, providing the scholarships, and then Amy working on apprenticeships. So we have a pipeline from the ESL all the way through apprenticeships.
Thank you for letting me put you on the spot there. All right, probably our last question, but it's a big one. What would it take in our region to become known as the best place in Illinois to live and work in your particular industry? I think in higher ed, well, we certainly have 2 large employers. Once you get past entry-level jobs that are more general, they become very niche. So you need a specific degree or specific experience or background. And so I think that makes it hard to attract sort of a larger audience to those jobs when we're really just getting people who are transferring from another institution of higher ed, which is still a good thing. But I think we're slowly, I know at Parkland, broadening some of those job descriptions to intentionally attract larger talent pools. but I definitely see that in some of the postings from the university and even some of our higher level positions that would really attract someone to move and to come here. Too big of a question. Should we skip it?
I think you raise a good point, though, Amy, as growth opportunities and how, as institutions, do we actually help our employees with growth opportunities? I mean, I think, we have some good examples on this call. Kat does a great job of providing that growth opportunity for their apprentices in their warehouse division. And I think that, MTD does a great job of providing that advancement opportunity through the trainings that they have. And I really think that that's really the crux of the matter is being intentional and recognizing that, you have talent within your own pool of people, and helping them to grow is a really important piece. So, I thank all our partners who are here that, provide those great examples. And Heritage FS is, clearly becoming one of those with our new partnership with the applicator. So I think those are some great showcases of what we can do as a community, and not just as an employer, but as a community to provide those opportunities together.
Well, I think that's a great segue to my next question. If you could remove one barrier to growing local talent, what would it be? I think, Katie, do you want to talk a little bit about your new program? This is barriers that you're removing.
Sure. We are embarking on a apprenticeship and training program with Parkland. We have 16, we're going to call them students, throughout all of our locations, and 2 from each location and they have experience as an operations personnel for typically anywhere from 3 months to 2 years. And we have some training in place at each locations, but again, each of our locations operates kind of as its own entity a little bit, and training can be somewhat inconsistent. And then backgrounds from historically operations is more of a farm kid, and we're getting away from that a little bit. So we are trying to provide consistent, meaningful, and valuable operations training. We are going to, Parkland, I don't know if anybody's familiar, has had a custom applicator program that was 2 years long, and that was just not quite what we were looking for. A lot of our operations people either came straight from high school, or maybe did 2 years at a trade school, or even a 4-year, but just didn't know what they were going to do. So they're all walks of life. And this is structured as 3 separate training sessions for 2 days at a time throughout the year. So our first one's in December, our second one's going to be in, I believe, February, and then our last one will be in the summer of 2026. So they are focusing on professional skills and just general like customer service things, because they are at the farm gate when that farmer comes to the field, they're putting that product on. That's our first 2 days, and that's Amy, correct me, it's EWS is, what are those called?
Essential workplace skills.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So that was kind of a hard sell, I thought, for our location managers. But when we sent out a survey saying what would be important, they were actually very much on board with understanding how to be a professional employee, and they are the face of Heritage FS when they do meet with those farmers. So I'm pretty excited about those. The second 2 sessions for 4 days total are going to be basically hands-on operations and learning troubleshooting maintenance skills. Parkland has the toolbar and facility set up for the ability to work on those. And then we also have a partnership with Altorfer and Lee Emmerich, who is one of our service techs that comes out to our locations already, and he's going to partner with our instructor who has a very strong background in agronomy to do some of that hands-on teaching. So we're pretty excited to get this off the ground. We're doing it internally right now as Heritage, but Growmark, which is our like quote unquote parent company, we're a cooperative, has also been on board, and we're hoping to kind of spread that out to other member companies and potentially other ag retailers in the territory. So it's been a whirlwind of the last, I don't know, 5 months. It was like I'm on the council for Custom Applicator, and that was just kind of going along for a little ways, and then this kind of just all of a sudden cropped up, and we're pretty excited for it. So
Thank you. This question, the conversation about barriers around local talent, is something we talk about in our advisory board. So every academic program or every career program at Parkland has an advisory board. And so we had a very long advisory board meeting for Applicator when we had the 2-year degree program about 2 years ago. And everything that was said by the employers is what has now been built. So it's been a 2-year process, as Katie said, but just the last 5 months have just suddenly gone into high gear. So it's been a lot of fun. But sorry, are there other thoughts on Katie's project or a barrier to growing local talent? Career exploration is a common topic here at Parkland and all around. Just students don't know, learners, job changers don't know what a maintenance technician at MTD does or what a production assistant at Flyover Studios does. So helping them understand those opportunities is a barrier that we're working daily to address, but it's a big one.
I think the biggest thing I would say is the way that kids communicate, or not kids necessarily, but younger generations. We're shifting into that technical, which is where the essential workplace skills, I think, really comes in handy, because some of these kids, not even workplace skills, they just can't communicate with each other face to face or with an adult. And I think that that's a really big thing that we're kind of shifting into, that technological, like, I don't want to have to talk to you. I don't want to come in for an interview. But I think that we're missing the ball there somehow, because there still is going to be a number of jobs out there that you will have to work with other people. You'll have to work with the public. And I think that that's where you kind of, if I could take that barrier away, is really just going away from the whole Zoom and technical interviews, and just really face to face, and giving kids confidence to speak to people in the younger generations. I think that that's really just a big barrier right now. Having known that I speak to a lot of teenagers, just knowing that they can't communicate with each other, and that they're just missing some of those skills that we were lucky to have, and just really kind of keeping that in the generation there, just focusing on that.
Yeah, it's a good point. They talk to the device, right? They interact with the device. Yeah.
Right. And that's something that we're working with the schools. We've got a career fair coming up at Urbana. So that will be November 4th. And so if anybody's interested, let me know, because I think there's still spaces available. It's going to be during the lunch hours, but it's really getting the companies in to talk to the students, about opportunities for them. And then also what we're working with the counselors also is making sure these kids do get some of the life skills training and their communication and teams and all of these things that are so essential in the workforce. They have to be able to communicate. They have to be able to write a good letter or email or be a team player. And there's just so many things involved with that. And so we're really in the high schools trying to get that to the students.
Thank you for your great work, Mindy.
We're trying.
You are, I know. Every bit helps, right? It takes a village. This is definitely an example of the village involved.
You definitely can see at the career fairs, because we've had them over the years in Unit 4, and now this is Urbana's first foray into it. But you just see the kids are kind of lost. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to walk up to somebody and look them in the eye and shake their hand and introduce themselves and say, tell me about, your company and what jobs you have. And so we're really trying to kind of help them in that regard.
I put Mindy's email in the chat if any of you want to get involved in that career fair, and not just that one. Maybe you're busy that day, but there's always future events the chamber needs employers to support. So.
And then also Urbana's is November 4th, and I think Champaign, I'm meeting with them this week. We're starting to work on the one for 2026, and I believe it's the 12th and 13th of February.
Terrific.
So if you're interested in that, we'll get you on the list as soon as the information's available. But, it's great. It's a great opportunity. I think last year for Unit 4, we had about 50 employers in there, just kind of getting their information out there to the kids. So, some of the jobs they can take, right after graduation. Some of the jobs they may need to go to Parkland and get some training. But we're really trying to help students realize that, 4-year degrees are great for certain things you want to do, but that's not your only alternative to having a great, rewarding career to help, support you and your family.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and wrap up, but I want to really thank you all for your participation and ideas today. I have learned a lot. I'm looking forward to doing more of the best sessions in the future. It won't be every month, but we'll sprinkle a few. So if you have topics that you want to discuss, ideas you want to hear from others, please send those my way. I'm always happy to take suggestions and inspiration from you all. So thanks again for your time. Have a great rest of your Tuesday.
Bye-bye.